Why did all the members of the first generation of the Shrek Seven Devils become gods, while in the second generation, only 2 of them managed to do the same? Many fans of Soul Land have wondered about this stark difference, and the answer is more complex and more connected to Tang San than you might expect. In the world of Soul Land, becoming a god is the ultimate goal for every Soul Master. It's the highest realm one can reach, a symbol of absolute power, and the dream that countless cultivators chase for their entire lives. So when we look at the Shrek Seven Devils, known as some of the most talented and extraordinary individuals in the Dulo continent, it's no surprise they were all expected to one day ascend to godhood. And that's exactly what happened with the first generation. All 7 of them reached the divine realm and became gods. But fast forward to the second generation, and things are dramatically different. Only Huo Yuhao and Tang Wutong became gods. The rest, despite their remarkable talent, never made it. So what changed between these 2 eras? Why did one group succeed entirely and the other only partially? Let's unpack it. First, we have to look at the era in which each generation existed. During the time of the first generation, the god realm was still rich with opportunity. Many god positions were vacant or waiting to be inherited. Roles like the god of Shura, god of the sea, god of food, and even the 9-color goddess were still available to be passed down. The first generation of Shrek Seven Devils had the good fortune to live in a time when divine inheritance was still accessible, and they were among the first batch of qualified candidates to receive that legacy. They had the right talent at the right time, and the path to godhood was open. But by the time Huo Yuhao's generation came along, the situation had drastically changed. The god realm had already been filled with divine successors, mostly by the first generation themselves. The number of unclaimed god positions had dropped significantly, and the competition was fierce. No matter how powerful or talented soul masters were, they simply didn't have enough god positions to inherit. Even individuals like Xiao Xiao and He Kai Tu, who had twin martial spirits and incredible potential, couldn't advance to godhood, not because they lacked talent, but because there were no divine thrones left for them to claim. Next, let's talk about Tang San and how influential he really was. Tang San wasn't just another genius. He ascended to become the God King, inheriting 2 godhoods, including the god of Shura, one of the most powerful and important positions in the divine realm. His rise to this supreme status changed the game for his generation. To honor and support Tang San, other gods actively chose to pass down their inheritances to Tang San's companions, the rest of the Shrek Seven Devils. In other words, Tang San's influence directly helped his friends become gods. Now compare that to Huo Yuhao. Yes, he did become a god, and a very powerful one at that, the god of emotions, which is a first-level god. But unlike Tang San, Huo Yuhao didn't have enough influence to convince other gods to support his companions. He lacked the authority, status, and connections Tang San had, so he couldn't provide the same kind of divine backing. His rise was more individual, and his teammates were left without the help they needed. Another major factor was resources and cultivation opportunities. The first generation had access to the immortal herbs from the Ice and Fire Yin-Yang Well, which significantly boosted their cultivation aptitude and overall potential. Some of them also underwent the God tests on Sea God Island, giving them rare and powerful experiences that helped them cross the threshold into godhood much faster. The second generation didn't receive the same benefits. They lacked the resources, divine trials, and enhanced cultivation opportunities that had helped their predecessors. As a result, even though they trained hard and made impressive progress, they found it much harder to break through the bottleneck to godhood. Relying purely on their own cultivation just wasn't enough. The path was longer, harder, and more uncertain. Then there's the matter of Huo Yuhao's rapid progress. He was a once-in-a-generation genius, and his growth rate was so fast that his peers simply couldn't keep up. Tang Wutong was the only one who managed to stay by his side, and that was largely because she had the blessing of divine blood in her veins. Her identity wasn't ordinary. She was actually Tang San's daughter, sent to the human world to train and grow. Her future as the butterfly god was already predetermined by Tang San, which meant she was always destined to become a god, no matter what. Huo Yuhao's success, too, was tied to Tang San, not just through talent, but also through his relationship with Tang Wutong. His connection to Tang San helped him receive guidance, support, and eventually his divine inheritance. But none of the other second-generation members had that kind of backing. We also can't ignore the impact of political conflict in the God realm. During Huo Yu Hao's time, the divine realm was in chaos. A major power struggle had broken out between Tang San and the god of destruction, creating serious instability. Because of this, many gods were too preoccupied with internal conflicts to descend into the mortal world and search for successors. This made it even harder for soul masters in the lower realm to receive godhood inheritance. When the first generation ascended, the divine world was peaceful, and the gods were far more willing to take disciples. The bar for becoming a god was lower, and even soul masters with decent but not exceptional talent, like Dai Mubai and Zhu Jiqing, were able to ascend. Contrast that with the second generation. Even with extraordinary natural talent, like twin martial spirits or innate full soul power, they didn't meet the new, much higher standard for becoming gods. The conditions were harsher, and the divine opportunities were almost non-existent. Finally, we have to talk about the team dynamic. One of the reasons the first generation succeeded was because they always trained together, grew together, and supported each other. They had time to help one another break through their limits. But in the second generation, this kind of collective growth didn't happen. Huo Yu Hao's fast ascent to the God realm left his companions behind. He had little time to guide them or offer support before he departed. The rest of the group had to rely on their own strength, which in that era and under those conditions simply wasn't enough. So when we put all these pieces together, the lack of available God positions, Tang San's overwhelming influence, the disappearance of crucial cultivation resources, the power struggles in the God realm, and the disjointed growth of the second generation team, it becomes clear why the outcome was so different. The first generation had every advantage. The second generation, despite their talents, faced every possible obstacle. And that's the real reason why only Huo Yu Hao and Tang Wutong became gods, while the rest of their generation couldn't reach the divine realm. But what do you think? Do you believe there were other hidden reasons behind this outcome? Maybe something in the story we all missed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Soul Land universe, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more content like this, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.